Fish on, baby. All right. That was right under the surface on a red and gold cripple lure. Hard to beat that cripple lure up in the high Sierras. A hefty feeling fish. I know he's just a planter, but man, he feels good. They all feel good. Been a little slow morning here. Saw some fish on top feeding on insects and switched some things up and put that cripple lure on. It took about a minute and a half. Those fish got active. Get hooked up. Man, that sun is bright. Hey, I see the trout. Nice fish. Whoa. There we go. Cripple lure, baby. Get this guy off the hook and get him back in the water ASAP and go from there. But cripple lure produces again. Good stuff.
Speed spoons. Troll them, cast them, or jig them. If you want to get aggressive with trout, get a set of Kellogg speed spoons and get your fish on. Available at the fishhuntshoot.com website.
Howdy folks, Kellogg here. An angler named Ron down in Oakley, California, he gave me a call the other day and he asked me a couple questions, and one of the main questions he wanted answered, what do water temperatures mean when it comes to trout fishing? And I thought I'd relate, here on video what I told Ron over the phone, because that's a common question and it creates some confusion for some folks, especially the folks that are just starting to target trout. So, all trout kind of have the same temperature requirement, but let's kind of focus on rainbow trout because those are the most common trout here in Northern California and the trout that most guys, especially the new guys, are going to be targeting. So for a rainbow trout, the most comfortable range of temperatures for them is anywhere from 54 to 56 degrees. That's when they feel the best. That is their ideal temperature. If they could set the thermostat, they'd want to be in 54 to 56 degree water. Now, they're comfortable all the way up to 65, 66 degrees, and all the way down to the low 50s, 50, 49, 48. They're comfortable in that span of temperatures. So here's how I relate, temperature to my fishing strategy. If I hit a lake and the temperature is 66 degrees or less on the surface, I assume that there are going to be rainbows right on top. Especially early and late in the day when I'm at the top of that temperature range. If I got 66 degree water and I hit the lake in the morning like it is right now, no sun on the water, I'm assuming there are fish up top. They're up there kind of prospecting, they're feeding, they're looking for targets of opportunity, stuff like that. Now, if, anywhere from there all the way down to the lower 50s, I'm always assuming there are trout on top. As the temperature declines and gets closer to 56, like right now I have 55 degree water, I'll assume that those trout are going to stay up near the surface all day long. There might be trout deeper, but I'm pretty confident that there are going to be trout in the upper, 8 feet of the water column all day long. Now, if the temperature's in the 60s, we may see those trout drop down a little bit, but there are variables to that. If they drop down, say we hit the lake, it's early like this, we catch a couple trout up top, and then we notice that they drop down. Maybe they drop down to 18, 20 feet of water, the surface temperature is 66, 67 degrees. So we drop down and we're catching fish. If we get a breeze in the afternoon and we get a lot of surface chop, that's going to create some current. And we may see those fish suck back up to the surface because they feel safe up there. A lot of oxygen up there with those little white caps breaking, stuff like that. But in general, if the water's in the middle 60s, I'll start out on top, but be prepared to drop down to the 20, 25 foot range as the morning goes on and the sun gets on the water. Cooler water, I'm assuming there's going to be trout up top all day long. Now that doesn't mean I'm not going to prospect some deeper water. I'm going to have one line near the surface most of the day, say 5 feet deep, maybe even shallower than that. But I'm going to prospect with another line, probably my lead core line, and I'm going to work 10, 12, all the way down to 17, 20 feet deep, and just kind of let the fish tell me, where they're at, what their temperament is. When the water continues to get colder, you can count on the trout to gravitate to the bank. And I'm talking about water that's down in the very low 50s or upper 40s. You can count on the trout to gravitate towards banks, shallow water areas, areas that warm up with the sun. In those conditions, I talked about this in a video last week, when the water's really cold, your best fishing may take place at the warmest part of the day, say between 10 and 2, 11 and 2. That may be the peak of the bite. Whereas in the summer, when the surface temperature is high, the bite might peak, before the sun hits the water and just before evening, kind of closes down and it gets dark. But when the water gets really cold, you can look for those fish to move into shoreline areas, anywhere you see a spike in temperature, and the tributaries are a good bet too. I just saw a fish jump right there. Tributaries are a good bet too. Let's say we had a rain, the lake temperature is maybe 48 degrees, something like that. Well, if you got 50-degree water running into the lake, it will draw fish, and that warmer little part of the cove where that creek is coming in, that can be a real hot spot, because not only is it holding warmer water, it might be bringing in food, but the warmer water is definitely the attraction in that situation. Once the water hits 47, 46, 45, it can get tough to catch trout. They're going to get lethargic. They're still going to be near the surface, but typically in that situation, I'll start slowing down. Not to say that a fast presentation won't catch fish, but as a general rule, day in, day out, when that water gets down into the middle 40s, you're going to need to slow down. You're going to need to use more fish scent. They're just more lethargic. They don't have to feed as much, and they're just not as active. I've caught fish up at Eagle Lake all the way down to like 38 degrees. And of course, people catch trout, rainbow trout all the time, ice fishing and stuff in different parts of the country. Some of that goes on right here in the Sierras. In the dead of winter, guys will go to Caples Lake and they'll catch rainbows through the ice. But just know, 56 degrees is a sweet spot. That's where you're going to have your most active fish. As the temperature declines from there, you're going to see the fish. First, they're going to gravitate to the shore, and then they're going to get lethargic, and you're probably best served to slow down. Your best option might even be to fish bait. That's a great time to fish your worms, your power bait, and stuff like that. One of my favorite presentations for really cold water, whether I'm in my kayak or I'm fishing off the bank, is to take a worm and squirt it full of Procure fish oil. That will make the worm float. It'll put off a lot of scent. And when a fish comes up and starts messing with that worm, he's going to get a good shot of flavor as well. And that can really kind of tip the odds in your favor on a cold day when the water is really cold. The fish are lethargic. Scent definitely helps you in that situation. So that's kind of my take on temperature. You got to factor everything into your fishing strategy, and fish are cold-blooded, and that is a major consideration when you're out on the water. What is the water temperature? How is it affecting the fish? Where is it dictating that the fish hold and feed? And what's it going to do to the fish's temperament overall? So, temperature, it's definitely an important factor. I've rambled on enough here about temperature and trout fishing, guys. I am jumping off for now. I will catch you next time right here on YouTube. If you haven't had a chance to subscribe, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I'm on here most days, sharing tips for trout and other species of fish. And if you haven't went over to the Fish Hunt Shoot Tackle store yet, check that out. There's a lot of cool gear in there. Anyway, you have a great day. I hope this helps you catch more fish here as we go, transition from fall into winter and things get really chilly. I'm signing off. I'm going to try to hook up here. I will talk to you real soon. This is Kel Kellogg. Thanks a lot, guys.